Instead of making a loaf of bread, you can make melt-in-your-mouth butter bottom rolls. Start by melting a cube of butter in a pan and spreading it all around. Divide your dough. Just keep cutting it in half and cutting it in half and cutting it in half. Make balls out of each section and dip in the butter. Let's watch that in slow motion. You just keep tucking the dough inside of itself, and it makes a neat ball. Dip in the butter and put aside. Beautiful. Let rise for 20 minutes and bake for 20 minutes. Turn out immediately onto a cooling rack so all the butter drips down through the roll. Your family will go nuts over these. And once the rolls are cool, you can make little sandwiches out of them, snackers or shots. With the second portion of dough, you can make a variety of snacks. Now, I went ahead and rolled it out with a rolling pin right in the cooking sheet. Also saves for cleanup and mess. So how about breadsticks? Now, breadsticks are easy. You can just spread it with your melted butter. Make it all even to have that nice, warm, crusty top of like a garlic spread or some mixture of herbs. We're doing a Parmesan garlic mix on half of it here. Now, the other half we can certainly leave blank. My son doesn't like the garlic spread. And then you would just cut it up with a pizza slicer. Now you can make these jumbo, big like this, or you can cut them in half. Make them fancy. If you take them like this and twist them, now the great thing about breadsticks is you can dip them into a variety of things. Get your kids to eat things they normally wouldn't eat, like vegetable soup or any sort of a dip that you can put into a squeezy bottle. Fill squeezy bottles with a bunch of different things. On the right is vegetable puree, middle is marinara, and the last is a white bean Parmesan dip. Or take a totally new approach and use chocolate syrup or frosting. Can you believe these soft breadsticks are half whole wheat? Now with breadsticks, you can let them rest and rise for 20 minutes, or you don't have to if you want it chewier. It's very good that way too. You can put it right into a preheated oven. Most breadsticks, something like this, would probably bake not very long, maybe 15 minutes in a 350-degree oven. You don't want to overcook them. Some people do like them crusty. You can certainly try that too and bake it for a little bit longer, but most time, maybe 12 to 15 minutes is perfect. Now don't forget to experiment with mix-ins for breadsticks or pretzels or whatever else you choose to make with the dough. It adds a lot of nutrition if you can put in meats or dried fruit, anything that you think your kids would like. Now, of course, you can make the dough into any shape that you can possibly think of. Basically, anything that you used to use to make out of Play-Doh, you can make it out of real dough and bake it that way. Pretzels comes immediately to mind, so just roll out a thin strip. You can just do it with your fingers and then twist it just like a pretzel. You can make it much bigger than that, of course, and sprinkle it with salt or cinnamon and sugar and then bake it for the same amount of time, 350 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on how crispy you want the outside and how chewy you want it. You can make initials, you can spell out a whole word, you can make animal shapes, anything that you think that you would get your kids to eat. Whole grains is a great idea. Yet another idea, instead of making breadsticks, just roll the dough out into a pan like this and don't cut it. Instead, dimple it with your fingers. Add toppings like the butter. Sprinkle with rosemary. And some more garlic powder. And you've got focaccia. Of course, focaccia is great, just sliced up after it's baked and eaten that way. Or you can take the entire piece and slice it horizontally and make that into one big sandwich. It's great for a party. Try making the equivalent of pita chips. Roll the dough out even thinner than focaccia, top with seeds like sesame or flax, and bake at 400 degrees for 15 minutes.